Hello guys, you're welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be taking you through easiest way of solving questions in mathematics, most especially for the WAEC students in 2022. Now, in my previous video, take a look at how to understand physics. But today, I'm going to be showing you some trick in mathematics. And today we are going to be starting with quadratic equation. How do we solve quadratic equation in WAEC with just only seconds? Now, if you are new to my channel, I would like you to please subscribe to my channel and click on the like button to like my video. And don't forget to share this video with your friends and drop a comment for me in the comment box section below. Thanks. Now, you see, when we talk about quadratic equation, notice that a quadratic equation is an equation that looks like this: as squared plus bs plus c equals 0. An equation of this kind is known as a quadratic equation. Now, if you are given any equation in WAEC to solve, for example, look at the question on the board. We are given that 2s squared plus 13s is equals to 15. This question can only be solved using the quadratic equation method only by transforming this equation back into the normal standard of quadratic equations. Now, in solving any quadratic equation, in providing a solution to a quadratic equation, there are three different methods that can be used, which I'm going to be showing you in my videos all together. Now, the first thing I'll be showing to you here is how to make use of the factorization method. Factorization method in solving any quadratic equation. As you have to know that we can use factorization method in solving. We can use the completing the square method, and then we can use the graphical method to solve. Why the easiest one to use is the formula method, and this formula method is gotten from the completing the square method. Now, in today's video, I'm going to be explaining only how to make use of the factorization method. Then in my next video, I'll be telling you how we can solve using the completing the square method. Now let's get started. Now you see, we are given an equation on the board that 2s squared plus 13s equals 15. We have to solve this equation. The first thing that you need to do here before solving this equation is to convert this equation into these formats: as squared plus bs plus c equals 0. How do I convert it? I have 2s squared plus 13s. You can easily bring this 15 and transfer it back into the left-hand side there, and I'll be having negative of 15 to be equals to 0. Now, if you have to factorize, factorization simply means write this equation into two linear equations. Now, that means transform this equation into these formats: x minus k and x minus n. This is what we call what? Factorization. That means I want to transform this equation to look like this, where I'm going to be having these two linear equations. Then after having these two linear equations, then I can apply a law which is known as what? Null equation, not null law. Now in this law, whereby you can have AB to be equals to 0, and if AB equals to 0, then my A equals 0 and my B equals 0. Which I'm trying to say that what? If I have this as my A, this as my B, if the both of them is equals to 0, automatically this should be 0 and this should also be what? 0. Now, we are not given this. How do we transform this into this? It is quite easier. You see, the first thing that you need to do in transforming this equation into this is that you are going to look for the product of this equation, the what we call factors of the equation. Each of these things are known as the factors of this equation. I'm going to be looking for the product of the factors of this equation, and I'll be looking for the sum of the factor of this equation. Now, how do we get the factor? The first step we need to follow to make your work easier is to take the coefficient of s squared, which is a, multiply this coefficient with the constant coefficient here. Since I have 2 and here is minus negative of 15, then 2 multiplied by negative of 15, I should be having negative of 30. Don't forget that you are multiplying with what? Value of s squared. That is 2s squared multiplied by negative of 15, I'll be having minus 30s squared. Many students make mistake of this if they are to multiply. They tend to omit the negative sign in front of 15. And don't forget that this 15 here is having this negative sign, while this 13s is the owner of this positive sign. So if you are to solve any quadratic equation, you should include the negative sign. Now, if I multiply this to here, I'll be having minus of 30s squared. Now, if you are to factorize, it simply shows we are looking for two factors. We are going to look for two factors. These two factors, when I multiply them together, I'll be having minus 30s squared. And if I add them together, I'll be having plus of 13s. There are some equations that these factors are quite easy to look for. You see, normally I multiply 2 times, 2 multiplied by negative of 15 give rise to negative of 30. Altogether, don't forget that, sorry, I will omit the s sign here. You can also include the s by saying 2s multiplied by negative of 15s. I'll be having negative of 30s into square. If I multiply this times this, I'll be having this. Now, anything I want to multiply, if you are adding this same number together, it should be giving you this. Now, as well to know that negative of 30s squared can be gotten in 2 ways. It is either I multiply 2 and 15 to get negative of 30s squared, or I said negative of 2s times positive of 15s to equals to negative of 30s squared, or I said negative of 6x multiplied by positive of 5x is going to give me negative of 30s squared, the same, or positive of 6x times negative of 5x, I'll still have negative of 30s squared. But this is the product. You are going to test for the product, and you now look for the sum. Now, don't forget I said, if for you to find what is going to be the factor of this equation, the product that you get must be equal to what is here, and the sum of that factors should be equal to 13. As we're going. Now, from here, I can easily solve this in this manner. Bring it, see, if I check here, 2 minus 15. Look up, this is the product that gives me negative 30. But if you check 2s minus 15x, 2s minus 15x will be given rise to minus 13x, which is not giving me positive 13x. Now, but if I take a look at the second one, which is minus 2s plus 15s, will be given rise to plus 13x, which is what we're looking for. Don't forget that we said earlier on that what is going to be the factor of this will be, if I find this product of these two factors, it is going to give me minus 30s squared. But if I add them together, I'll be having plus 13x. So the two factors that is going to give me this is this. Altogether, which is, so my factors that I'll be having will be minus 2s and 15s. These are the two factors that I'm going to be having in this equation. Now, how do we now solve it? What we want to do with this factor is to replace these factors with the 13x of this. Then I'll be having 2s squared. Instead of plus 13x, I'll be having minus 2s plus 15x, the two factors. Don't forget that this is positive, this is negative. Minus 2s plus 15s, then minus 15, that is here. Please note, you are not writing this back. You only need this to get your factor by multiplying this and this. All together. Now, let me buttress this. For an equation in which this one is having a coefficient of 1, the value of s squared here is with a coefficient of 1. Then we can do the same thing by saying 1 times minus 15, I'm going to get minus 15. But because here is the coefficient of 2, that's why I multiply also the same thing, the same way. Now, from here, we now have like 4 different expressions. 2s squared minus 2s plus 15x minus 15. Then everything equals 0. You can easily factorize here by joining 2 equations together in an easiest way for you in WAEC. If I bring these 2 together, 2s squared minus 2x all together, then all these values that is here, positive of 15s minus 15, I can take them together to get plus 15x. This positive is here, then minus 15. Everything should be equal to 0. Don't forget that what I want to do is I want to express this equation in this format, s minus k into bracket x minus l. Everything equals 0. We want to express this thing in this format. Now, from here, I can easily find this. What is common to this first bracket and what is common to this second bracket? If you check this first bracket, I will notice that we have 2s is common because 2s is here, and we have 2 here. Look, okay, let's start with this. 2 is here, 2 is here, 2 is common. Then S1, here is S2. Simply shows that this S1 can be found in S2. S is also common. Now, if I remove 2S out, what am I going to do here is that what? 2S divided by this 2S squared. If I say 2S squared over 2S, that means this divided by this, all I have, 2 cancel 2. S remove 1S, then I'll be left with how many S? 1 single S. So 2s squared divided by 2s, you'll be left with ordinary s. Minus this 2s divided by this 2s. That's what it means. It simply means I'm going to have 1. That's what you're going to have in this place here. 2s, notice there's a factor, you remove 2s, so all the left here is with a single s and a single 1. Now, in this place here, 15 is here, 15 is here. If 15 is being removed, then note something that I'm removing 15. What if what is here is minus 15? If what I'm having is minus 15, it simply shows that minus 15 is common. Minus 15 should be removed. But the reason why I remove ordinary 15 is because the quotient of 15 here is positive. Remove this quotient, I'll be having 15, I'll be left with s here, because 15, just like the same thing, 15s over 15. If 15 is removed, the here should be left with ordinary s. Minus 15 divided by 15 should give rise to 1, which is going to give us 0. Now, that is for that. Now you can come back to this place here. That will be having something of this kind. If you check this equation, notice that what is here is common to this place. They have the same thing in common. Then I can easily factorize this out. Since I have x minus 1 here, x minus 1 here, I can factorize it out to give me what? S minus 1, remove it out. Then, if I remove s minus 1 out, what will be left in this place should be what? 2s, which is 2s here. Then what will be left here is what? Positive 15, which is plus 15. Everything equals 0. Now, we've expressed it in this format, but because it's an equation, not an expression, we have to find the value of x. That's what it says, solve the equation. And we can only solve the equation by looking for the value of x. Now, my value of x here, applying this equation, applying this rule that AB equals 0, simply means when AB equals 0, this is A, this is B, automatically A will be 0, and my B will also be equal to 0. That means s minus 1 should be 0, and then, or 2s plus 15 should be 0. Now, if s minus 1 is 0, automatically s should be equal to, take this minus 1 to this side, become plus 1. S should be equal to plus 1. That is the value of x initially. Or, if this is equal to 0, I should be having 2s to be equal to, if I take this 15 to this side, it becomes negative of 15. Thereby, I'll be dividing both sides by 2. And then if s equals to 1 or s equals to negative of, we have minus 15 over 2. If I divide 15 over 2, I should be having 7 odd number 1 over 2. That is the solution to this quadratic equation. Now let me give you a tip on how to answer this fast in exam. If actually you are given this thing in objective, there are some ways at which you can solve this that does not require you to solve it. Number one, if you know the factors of the equation, then you can easily understand the answer, the solution of the quadratic equation. For instance here, I said that the factor of this equation should be negative of 2x or 15x. Now, the first thing I need to know is that one of the solutions of this equation should be having this. By dividing this 15 over 2, over this minus 2, one of the solutions will be having this divided by this. That is one of the solutions of the equation, which is what we get here, minus 7 over 12. Now, the only thing I'm going to have here is that, here is having negative, while here is positive. So one of my answers should be changing the sign. This one should be positive, while this one should be negative. Sorry, if my factor is, okay, let me take like this. As we have a factor of this kind, like plus 2x or 4x or minus 4x, then my answer should be the reverse. The solution of the equation will be minus 2x, for instance, or plus 4x. The only thing that is changing here is that if you understand the factor, if the factor is positive, your solution should be what? Negative. Now, this method is always applicable most if the coefficient that you are having here is 1, not 2. If I'm having a coefficient of 1 here, then it is quite easier. Take for instance, as soon as you are given an equation like this, I have s squared plus 4s plus 4 equals 0. We have to solve this. You don't need to use your pen to solve it. You can easily solve it with just analysis. What is the analysis? Think about two numbers that when I multiply to give me plus 4. If I add it together, it's going to give me what? Plus 2. These are the factors. Now, the two number is plus 2, right? Or plus 2. Because 2 times 2 will give me plus 4. 2 plus 2 will give me plus 4. But what will not be the solution of this quadratic equation if I know the two factors plus 2 or plus 2? The solution will be just change the sign. Now, if the factor is plus 2 and plus 2, then the solution should be minus 2 or minus 2. That is the solution of the quadratic equation. Thank you for watching this video. Please meet me in the next video. I'm going to be explaining to you how to solve this using the completing the square method and then using the formula method. Now, if you've not subscribed to my YouTube channel, please don't forget to subscribe and share my video. Thank you.